Well, good evening, Club 17, and welcome to one more episode or segment of Rotarian Spotlight. And I thought tonight we would not just have just a single person, but we would have the entire Fischer family in front of us tonight. So welcome to Fred and to Allie and to Angie.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, David.
Well, and obviously Fred did not get the memo from the family because he's not wearing the striped shirt. Fred, I don't know what's going on there, but you need to listen to those two daughters of yours.
Yep.
You got that right.
Well, I've known Fred for a while. We've served on the foundation board together, and just this past year, I asked Allie to co-chair the Women in Rotary committee, so I've gotten to know you a little bit better. But we don't go back very long. But we did meet last, I guess it was in August. We were pulling weeds together at the Condon School cleanup project. So it's great to get to know all three of you, and I'm sure we'll have a little bit of fun back and forth here tonight. So, and I have seen each of you perform at the lip sync contest, which was quite special. So
Champions.
Maybe there's a new career for each one of you. I'm not really.
Can't believe you recognized it was us.
Well, you know, I was wearing a long wig, and somebody thought I looked like Howard Stern. So, so Fischer family, tell me a little bit about yourself. We'll start with Fred, and then Allie, and then Angie. But tell me about your family, a little bit about your careers, perhaps, maybe some of the things you're involved with. And Fred, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I grew up in Cincinnati, went to Woodward High School, and I've been here most of my life, but I did leave for a period of time, about 9 years, when I went to the West Coast. And I had 5 years of college and 4 years as an air crewman in the Naval Air. And then I came back home again and got involved in a family business. And I was co-owner of a manufacturing company that was started by my grandfather, actually. And I did that for 44 years. And I tell everybody 44 years is long enough to do anything. So a few years ago, we sold it, and I'm retired, and I'm enjoying grandkids and fishing and everybody. And it's a good life so far back here in Cincinnati, although we have sold our house in Cincinnati and we now live in Northern Kentucky. So we're pretty settled right at the moment.
Sounds like you're, after 44 years in business, you deserve every bit of that.
Well, I appreciate it.
How about you, Allie?
Well, this month, April, actually wraps up my 5th year with HGC Construction. HGC is a group of companies that does construction management and general construction for the region. We're actually the 3rd largest in the city. We also have some specialty contractors within our group of companies that focus on concrete and masonry repair, as well as a fleet of skilled craftsmen that focus on custom millwork and ornamental ironworking. So at HGC, I actually lead the business development team. I oversee our firm's client and client retention and development efforts, and I hunt down new opportunities for the company to pursue, as well as develop strategies for chasing new clients. Prior to my time with HGC, grew up in Cincinnati, as you just heard. I attended DAP, the Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning College at the University of Cincinnati. Upon graduating from there, I worked for 3 different architecture firms, both locally and in Nashville, Tennessee. I designed everything from high-end custom homes to labs and offices for GE Aviation, and finally wrapped up my architecture career at a retail design firm in downtown Cincinnati. And that's a pretty significant place for me because it's where I met my husband, Bo, who's also an architect. And we have 2 young girls, Zoe and Remy, who I actually have some pictures of. We got Zoe, she's 4. Remy, she's almost 2. So they keep us on our toes, for sure.
Sounds like you have a busy household.
We do.
And Angie, how about you?
Yes, hello. I am currently serving as the Chief Operating Officer of Lightborn Communications. We are a motion graphics, 2D and 3D animation and broadcast production, video production firm located right in Over the Rhine. So I've been there for a little bit less than a year, just about coming up on my 1-year anniversary. And prior to that, have held lots of positions in different advertising agencies across the city, but it's fun now to kind of be on more of the production side and creating and filming and shooting some of these things. We're actually now, during this time of COVID-19, shifting our focus to try and do more virtual production. So again, trying to make the best of some challenging times and trying to set up facilities in our own studio where we can actually have people remotely attend different productions and still get their communications out to the market. So although it has been difficult and we've experienced some challenges, we are trying to develop some new capabilities in this time, which has been definitely a fun couple of weeks. Let's see, I graduated from Harvard University with a degree in psychology. And little known fact, after that, I actually got a degree in culinary arts. So while I have been stranded in the house for the past month, I will say it's been a really nice opportunity to cook everything I always wanted to and just never had the time to. So it's been a lot of baked goods. So sorry to my family. I live currently in Wyoming. And similar to Allie, have a very busy household. So I have 11-year-old twins who are currently trying to do remote learning, 5th grade at Wyoming schools. And I have a 15-year-old and 21-year-old stepdaughter and stepson, also trying to finish out their education for the year, remote learning. And we have 2 cats and a dog. So good busy household here.
I would say.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for that. I know Rotary's been a really important part of the Fischer family for a long period of time. So talk a little bit about your Rotary experience, some of your fondest memories, perhaps. Fred?
Well, while I was on the West Coast, I met my wife, Gail, who's from Pennsylvania. It's funny how we had to go from Cincinnati and Pennsylvania to meet on the West Coast. And together we've been involved in a lot of stuff, but the main thing for me has been Rotary, and I joined in 1983, which is getting to be a long time ago. But in Rotary, I just like everything about it. You know, I just don't feel as though we were put on earth to self-aggrandize ourselves. So it's a great way to give, and I don't think we're giving back. I like to think of giving forward, because what's done is done, as we have it all ahead of us. But just what you're doing now with all of the CV-19 things, it just shows how Rotary swings into action, and I've just enjoyed being a part of that. And me personally, I've gravitated towards Camp Allen and Stepping Stones and the foundation, and there's been a lot of memories there. One of my fondest memories of Rotary, though, was I've been around long enough that I was good friends with Wally Emmerling, and he lived to be 99. And we got paired up one time in a golf cart when he was elderly. I don't know how old he was. I would much rather have been fishing than playing golf. But along about the 14th hole, he reached over and took my hand and said, "Fred, it's time we go have a cocktail and forget about this." And I said, "Wally, that's a good idea." And every year after that, we were paired together, and I don't think we ever played 18 holes. But he was just a wonderful individual, and my memories of Wally and the things we did are some of my fondest memories of Rotary. So.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
How about you, Allie?
Well, I officially became a Rotarian in 2016. After making my shift from the architecture world into business development, it allowed me to have the time to actually devote to the Rotary Club, which has been one of the best things about my job. But even though I've only been a member for 4 years, it feels like I've been a Rotarian for decades, just because of how long our dad has been involved and how he's gotten our entire family involved along the way. I've told the story 1,000 times at different Rotary events, but sharing my earliest memory is going over to Camp Stepping Stones in Indian Hill, where, you know, I was 4 or 5 years old at the time, and it was a Saturday morning, and gosh, I don't know, 30, 40 Rotarians all came together to build this playground for the kids of Camp Stepping Stones. So of course, being a young child, I couldn't wait to play on it myself. But a couple months later, driving down Given Road and seeing all the kids of all sorts of abilities being able to enjoy that time was just something really special. But since becoming an active member, you know, I've had a great time attending the lunches when I'm able to make it. I've tried to get involved through being a co-chair on the Women in Rotary Committee. That's been a great experience, just seeing all the other strong, powerful women who are part of the club and doing what we can to bring all members of the club together there. Playing euchre, going out to Camp Allen for the hot air balloon rides. There's just so much that the club does to give back. And like my dad mentioned, everything we're doing right now amidst the COVID pandemic, it's an easy thing to get behind. And having 2 young girls myself, it's important to be involved in the community and let them see that, so that, you know, we can pay it forward and maybe they can be part of the next generation.
That sounds good. And Angie, how about you?
Yes, well, I'm the newbie of the family. So, you know, I feel very similar to Allie in that Rotary has always been part of our lives for sort of as long as we have been on Earth, just through my dad. But I personally have been a Rotarian for less than a year. So I joined late last summer. Prior to that, again, similar to Allie, my career just didn't allow me to devote the time, and I was in more of a global role with a lot of travel. So it was one of the things that I too was most looking forward to in taking my new position, that I did have the opportunity to join Rotary and to become part of it. Now that said, both Allie and I participated in Rotary events before we were officially members. And I think one of our fondest memories is attending a luncheon, and it was, I think, sponsored by the women's group of Rotary at the time, and a speaker came and presented, and I just happened to attend the luncheon that day, and her name was Deepa Willingham, and she presented about a school that she had started in Calcutta, India, exclusively for girls in rural India who otherwise would not have any ability to be educated in any way. And after that luncheon, Allie and I were so moved and so inspired that we thought it wasn't enough to just donate funds. We wanted to physically go and visit the school and serve there. And it was a remarkable experience to go there in 2013 and spend 2 weeks in an environment so very different from Cincinnati or from anything we had ever experienced. And just to be with those girls and take part in their education, and really to see Rotary operating, you know, in a different city, but so similarly to what we'd experienced from that service mentality was just absolutely phenomenal, and an experience that really stuck with both of us. I will say, since I've joined in the past year, I've really enjoyed the hands-on service opportunities. You know, whether it was cleaning up the Condon School and doing some good weed pulling, or attending the Christmas party there and dressing up as elves, as we're known to do. Those were really great experiences. My new member project this past year, getting to go see the Project Connect organization that helps homeless children that are part of Cincinnati Public Schools, was also fantastic. And I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge some of the fun things in Rotary, like the lip sync contest that we all participated in just a few months ago. Those are really some of the highlights since I've joined.
Well, now's where the real fun comes in. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to allow Fred to go first and tell a funny or memorable story about these 2 sisters.
Uh-oh.
You know, they're going to really...
And go easy on them, Fred, please.
Oh, no.
They're going to kill me on this one, but, you know, there's been a lot of individual things, but one night for the 2 of them, we were out at a very fancy restaurant. And everybody was dressed up. The place was packed. And these 2 went to the restroom. And when they came out, Angie came out first. And Allie noticed as she walked behind Angie that Angie had tucked her skirt into our underwear by mistake, and it was hiked up in the back. And they started to cross this entire restaurant like that. Of course, Allie could have told her, but she didn't. She started howling, laughing. They were pretty young at the time, 10 or 8 or 10 or so. And the whole restaurant noticed. And it's been a family story for us ever since. And when Angie finally found out, she was typically a very good sport about it, and we had a lot of fun. So that's one of the best ones I can think of for the two of them.
Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate the entire Rotary Club knowing that I walked across the restaurant with my
entire
skirt tucked
city.
into my panties. Thank you.
Well, I was not there, but that paints a vivid picture. Believe me.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that the gloves are off,
Yeah.
Angie and Allie, it's your turn to tell a story about
I don't
your
think
dad.
we didn't want to be so mean, but
No. Jeez.
I think we can both agree that if you know Fred Fischer, you know he has two passionate hobbies. One is fishing, and the other one is cars. He's a car buff.
Yeah.
Whether it's driving around his 1968 Camaro, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Or yeah, even older. Or many of his antique cars. So one of my favorite memories as a kid with him and the family was loading up in the Roadster, which I don't know, Dad, you can probably explain it better, but had an open convertible top where Angie and I could squeeze into the back seat, and we'd take off down Tohey Lane and head down the hill in Marymount to get Grater's ice cream.
Yeah,
Or
the
the rumble seat.
rumble seat.
The rumble
Right.
seat, okay.
But it wasn't just down the street, to Graders that we would be on these trips. We would go to Lake Geneva sometimes in the summer, and, here are the two of us in the back of this rumble seat. And most of the time it was great, but there were times when it would, rain, storm, and Allie and I are huddled back in there trying to keep our coats over our heads. It was a very interesting experience as a child to take car trips like nobody else did. It was fun.
Well, I'm pretty sure that there's other stories that you could have told, but I think you
Yeah.
heard that. So
Got the gloves on.
we'll get those out at a later point. So, well, it's been a lot of fun talking to you guys tonight, and I think to Fred, you and Gail, it's obvious that you've raised two fine young ladies, even though they're dressing in a fancy restaurant may get in the way. It's obviously you have such a neat family, and I'm really happy that we could spend some time tonight and allow other Rotarians to get to know you better as well.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks for all that
Thanks,
you
Ray.
have done
Thanks,
and will continue to do for our club, and look forward to hopefully seeing you very soon back in the Hall of Mirrors.
Hey,
Thank
Dave,
you
and
for
thanks.
everything you've done.
Thanks for all that you've done. Yeah, that's right, Al. And all you're doing through this difficult time. We got the right man in charge at the right time. I really appreciate that.
Well, thanks. It's a huge team effort. So, well, that concludes our Rotarian Spotlight, and it was just a blast for me to spend some time with you guys. So you enjoy the night, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.